say knowledge is power, but it's not the knowledge alone, but it's the application. Rags, la-di-da-di, Jimmy Stone and Zari, best scrolls in the lobby, and the library, can't hide it in a book, quite contrary, la-da-da-da-da-da, Hail Mary. The stones that the builder refused, return home to learn how to produce. Remove ya, steer far from the fools. Honors a rebel, some men now follow rules. I don't want a Grammy or an Oscar, Bentley, private plane or a helicopter. Just need family and my culture, a herb doctor and some economic structure. All for one for all, call it Ubuntu. Peaceful, but I study war like Sun Tzu. Coming from a Texas perspective, sign symbols on my mind introspective. Pick my friendships like my fruit, selective. Check the history so our future's protected. Know that self and you will be respected. Tree without roots like a phone disconnected. For an unpaid bill, pure journalism, scholarship and skill, and still got a real and authentic feel. C101 blood, don't know the deal. La-di-da-di, Jimmy Stone and Zari, best scrolls in the lobby, and the library, can't hide it in a book, quite contrary. La-da-da-da-da-da, Hail Mary. La-di-da-di, Jimmy Stone and Zari, best scrolls in the lobby, and the library, can't hide it in a book, no, quite contrary. La-da-da-da-da-da, Hail Mary. Yo, Rago, Zulu, Jah Messenger, God MC. From one side of the pond to the other, it's the global family, it's the universal village. One blood, one blood. Yo.
Welcome to another episode of Conscientization 101 Podcast.
Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of the Conscientization 101 Podcast. I am your host for this 60th episode of Conscientization 101, senior editor James Stone, and man, I just can't get over how dope that new intro is. Thank you, Rago Zulu Rebel. Man, y'all like that? I mean, man, it gives you full of energy. Yeah. Today, we continue with part 2 of our 3-part series with Dr. Julian Kunnie called Is Apartheid Really Dead? Redux. A dialogue with Dr. Julian Kunnie. Again, this dialogue took place on November 5th, 2022, and lasted over 3 hours. And if you remember, our original impetus for this dialogue was to have Dr. Julian Kunnie back on the show in 2020 to revisit his book, Is Apartheid Really Dead? Pan-Africanist Working Class Critical Perspectives, for his 20th anniversary of publication. However, the pandemic, technical difficulties, and scheduling issues prevented us from having this dialogue until November 5th, 2022. And while we did revisit aspects of Is Apartheid Really Dead in regards to its initial analysis of post-apartheid Azania, that's South Africa, and its relevance today, we also incorporated his other book, The Cost of Globalization, Dangers to the Earth and Its People, and his forthcoming book, The Earth Mother and the Assault of Capitalism, Living Sustainably with All Life, scheduled for release on April 23rd, 2025, as well as a myriad of other topics. And again, if you want to revisit our dialogues about Is Apartheid Really Dead? Pan-Africanist, Working Class Critical Perspectives, and The Cost of Globalization, Dangers to the Earth and Its People. Check out our podcast episodes 9 through 10 and episodes 23 through 25, respectively. Yeah. So, today we feature excerpts from part 2 of our 3-part series with Dr. Kunnie, which came in at a little under 60 minutes. And don't worry, we will let you know how to get the unabridged version at the end of the show. So, in part 2 of our series with Brother Julian, we discuss the following: how and why miscegenation has been used historically as a tool for colonial domination, referencing Dr. Julian Kunnie's book, The Cost of Globalization, Dangers to the Earth and Its People, and an article by Chinwezu called Reparations for Darfur or a Resolution. The importance of understanding the term genetic colonialism, Arab hegemony in Africa, and much more. So, is apartheid really dead? Redux, a dialogue with Dr. Julian Kunnie, part 2, starts now. Again, I want to refer to Dr. Kunnie, your book, The Cost of Globalization. You say in The Cost of Globalization, under the auspices of global colonization, launched 5 centuries ago, indigenous women all over the world, indigenous women all over the world have been forced to bear the brunt of perversity of sexual violence imposed on them while glorifying the Puritan morality of the European Christian male, where the sexualization of social relations with short-term liaisons, rape, and the birth of mixed-race children being key features. Listen to that, listening audience, being key features of indigenous colonial relations drove a firm wedge between the groups. That's on page 108. And I want to keep it simple. Raping and bastardizing, this is me talking, y'all. I'm going to keep it simple. The raping and bastardizing a race is an ancient strategy of colonization, okay? Now, our dear beloved brother Chinwezu discusses this process in reference to the calamity in the Sudan in his article titled Reparations for Darfur, a Resolution. Quote, but who are these strange Arabs in Sudan, located so deep inside Black Africa? They are the Jelaba Arabs, the part African descendants of Arab slave procurers earlier centuries. In Arab society, the half Arab, half non-Arab hybrid is called Hajin and ranks lower than the full Arab, and the part Black Hajins, to whom Blackness had passed from their mothers, rank lowest in social status in Arab society. In Sudan, one is classified an Arab if one is Muslim and speaks Arabic, and especially if one has the light red skin of the part Black Hajin. Most of these Sudanese Arabs are actually Nubian Arab mixed breeds, Hajins, who are culturally Arabized. For being part African, these Hajins from Sudan are held in contempt by the true Arabs. These despised Black wannabe Arabs are so desperate, kind of like we talked about earlier, so desperate to earn acceptance by the white and true Arabs that they have become fanatical agents of Arab expansionism into Black Africa. The white Arabs, for their part, though despising these wannabe Arabs, gladly use them as monkey's paws to advance Arab expansionism. Arab minority rule in Sudan is as if the Cape Coloreds of South Africa had inherited power in 1948, proclaimed themselves Europeans, and then proceeded to inflict apartheid, war, and genocide on the Black South Africans as the first stage in a racist mission to repopulate all of Black Africa with Europeans. So that's end quote of Chinwezu. And I just want to say this is a tactic to subjugate a people. And contrary to what imperialists want us to believe, you don't unpolitically fall in love. So whatever you see on these damn commercials. And just because you marry another another black person, that don't mean you're not a quisling as well. So I did want to ask, switching my question, Julian, what does a Pan-African project look like, knowing that we have contradictions with Arabs as well as Europeans? How can that Pan-Africanism, that seems like it'd be a contradiction when they want to expand on us and Arabize us, and they can only see us as people if we are Arabized culturally, as opposed to the first ones who started war on the African culture. I just wanted to get your take on that. Maybe I'm wrong on that sense. So go ahead.
I think, when I was in, I think I was taking a class in anthropology or something like that. And when I first heard the term ethnic, ethnic, and it comes, I think, from ethnos or something, from a Greek thing. This is, and we all know that Greece was shaped by Africa, by ancient Africa. I mean, and of course, these Europeans here and in Europe, trace Greece as the classical civilization. They said, well, yes, there were other Chinese, African, and Egyptian and so on, but Greece is the classic, kind of the senior capstone, for quote global civilizations. Exactly. Well, that's a dirty lie, and you can trace the history of British people here. The Germans destroyed, the Slavs in all their wars and so on. There's nothing about Greece, So, but the whole construction of Europe itself. And so, but when you look at the whole thing with you see, naming is extremely important to colonization. And, looking at Africa named after Afar, and, the way that we have these terminologies. And that's why, when you look at a number of indigenous African languages, most of them, in fact, indigenous languages, period, you can't translate them into European languages in totality. And in fact, when you look at our sister, that beautiful book, Tsitsi Dangaremba, Nervous Condition. I may have mentioned that somewhere.
I haven't read that, but I've seen that book. Yes.
It's a beautiful book. And one of the things she says, in fact, I think I say it even in my...
Is the sister from Zimbabwe? Is she from Zimbabwe? Is that...
Yes. And she was actually involved in confronting people now. I think 6 months ago, I saw her, one of the clips, protesting, for people's rights and workers' rights and so on. And so it's just... but she says, people must understand. It's a novel. It's a story. It's a beautiful story to read. Zari, about education and family dynamics. It's a beautiful story. And of course, the Europeans have colonized the book and the story and everything else. These are books difficult to publish in Africa. It's just like Ngugi struggled. When he wrote. He said, I'm sick and tired of writing in English. I'm going to write in Kikuyu. I mean, it's just, and they marginalized him, Kwai Arma, I mean, you read that story about him being ripped off. And then, and how he just said no more with Heinemann and all these colonial publishers, because the value for our people is totally negative, both in Africa and in Europe. That's the colonial, and in the world. So when we look at this whole thing with the Sudan or Ethiopia, I mean, I think here in Tucson one time, I was kind of shocked. There's the largest community is the Somali community from the diaspora,
Wow.
And I have a good, there's a good sister that I know, and, we used to do a number of things and so on. And she mentioned Bantu Somalis. She said, well, those are Bantu Somalis. Now, she's from Somalia herself. But the term Bantu is plural of Muntu. right? Muntu
Yes.
means person. Into is the root, NTU. So and occupied Azania in the early colonial days, they immediately set up that whole thing with Bantus. So you had, for instance, a radio station called Radio Bantu. You know, the Bantus were the majority indigenous full-blooded population, right? Marginalized, kept out in the so-called reserves and, you know, isolated, just like the Indians here. And so you begin to create these categories of people. Colonialism as a system has always thrived on. And so when you look at the role of religion in colonization, that's why we always have to say, you know, with all due respect, Islam has also been an enslaving culture.
That's right.
You know, we and I have very good Muslim friends. I've been hosted by Muslims all over the African and in Jordan and different places in the world, so on, Abu Dhabi and so on. You know, and I have wonderful friends who are Muslim and Arab and so on, and you know, and it's like, but we have to understand how this colonial sickness has become a part of our genes now.
Yes.
There is, you know, it's a genetic colonialism.
Younger music.
You make me wanna run away as fast as I can. Trouble weighing on my brain, trying to swim, drowning in this pain. You make me wanna run away as fast as I can. Trouble weighing on my brain, trouble trying to swim, drowning in this pain. Trouble. Can't take it, I swear. This feeling in here. Inside my own head, I ain't free. I just want my space, let me breathe. I wish I could close my eyes and everyone disappears. It's so I won't open my eyes. I'll learn how to be without light. I'll learn how to live without fear. Left alone, I'm alright. I'm troubled. You make me wanna run away as fast as I can. Trouble weighing on my brain, trying to swim, drowning in this pain. You made me wanna run away as fast as I can. Trouble weighing on my brain, trouble trying to swim, drowning in this pain. Trouble. I'm breaking, I swear. The edge of my mind, I am there. Don't let me fall off, I am scared. It's quite clear that I ain't prepared. I wish I could run away. That's what my ancestors felt. Your privilege is blinding, you see. You don't even know it yourself. Please let me be, let me be. No, I do not need your help. Your trouble. You make me wanna run away as fast as I can. Trouble weighing on my brain, trying to swim, drowning in this pain. You make me wanna run away fast as I can. Trouble weighing on my brain. Trouble trying to swim, drowning in this pain. Trouble, you made me wanna run away as fast as I can. Trouble, I'm trouble. Trouble, you're trouble.
I mean, it's actually when they say, black people genetically have sickle cell anemia, or black people, go to the doctor, they say, well, black people have hypertension, it's part of your genes.
Yes. Yes.
And so it's what happens when the environment that's constructed over the centuries begins to shape our perception of ourselves, for one. They worked on it through the language of culture and so on, the schools, and then the politics of it. And the Sudan is a classic case. And oftentimes what these things obscure is the underlying colonialism that took place in different eras, whether it's the Ottoman Empire or whatever.
Yes.
And the discussion, it's like when Garvey was talking about, he said, well, you guys in Britain have your queens and sovereigns and so on. And we in Africa can have our own, sovereign kings and so on, emperors, and everything else. So you begin to assimilate the value system and the structure of the colonizer.
Yep.
And you master that in so many different ways. So the Sudan is another classic example of that, between the political divisions over history, from colonization, and then using culture, and then using, the northern Arab Sudan compared to the black southern Sudan. And the United States and Britain and all of the European world were very much a part of that. I remember I was in Azania at the University of South Africa, and I saw a bunch of these people from southern Sudan sitting in I think it was at some big room. And I said, what are you brothers and sisters doing here? It's mostly brothers, of course. They said, well, we are going for a training to prepare for independence for southern Sudan, and South Africa is hosting this whole thing. So South Africa, neo-colonial regime, was a part of that whole split between northern and southern Sudan. So, all these things here are rooted in colonization. And so the so-called Arab role in the Sudan or in Africa, now they talk about, Arabs enslaving people in Mauritania and so on and so on. It's because it's like people are cashing in. It's just like, black people in occupied Azania. And I think it was the wife of one of, maybe it was Oliver Tambo, one of the ANC leaders, or Sisulu or somebody, who had investments in private prisons.
Yeah, a lot of people have investment in private prisons.
Uh-huh. So a lot of black people. So, it's like, hey, let's cash in. I'm against it and so on, but I gotta make some money. I need to take care of business. So you have this cashing in mentality on the part of the system. And that's where this whole thing about Arab and African, come into play. Just like you have the colored dynamic, so-called coloreds. You begin to do that. So what happens, the evil fruit, right? The evil fruit pays off quote, after liberation, after, quote, independence. Because then you got these groups still fighting each other. You see, just like in occupied Azania. I mean, every time, I'm in some part of the country and a so-called colored person would say, yeah, we had more rights under the whites. These black people here, have made themselves the center and we have no voice. There are political parties emerging out of the Cape and other parts of the country too, to talk about colored rights.
Wow. So they I'm sorry. So let me get this straight. So they still, again, like we was talking about the mulatto factor. So they don't see themselves as African. They see themselves as colored. They bought that.
They're a whole nother race.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. Okay. There is still.
What's funny
and that's what I'm saying.
They bring them here as black people.
Yeah.
They bring them here as black people.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at, let's say a dark-skinned Sudanese, and there's dark-skinned Sudanese in both the North and the South. When I was in Africa, we interacted with people when I was outside occupied Azania in the old days. There were also many in Asia too, studying and doing different kinds of things that I knew. And they were African, they were dark-skinned. But there was this whole thing, I'm Nilotic, he's Bantu. She's Bantu.
Wow.
So they belong to the Nuer or the Dinka or the Acholi group or whatever from southern Sudan. Mm-hmm. But I'm Nilotic. Nilotic comes from the Nile. Now, the brother is just as dark-skinned. But the sister is just as dark-skinned, sometimes even darker. But you have a stratification, just like you had with a classic case I mentioned in the 2000 book, I think. It was Rwanda and Burundi.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
The same kind of thing plays out. You guys are taller. Yep. Your skin is pointed. You're lighter skinned. You're the same people, right? But the Belgians provided privileges
arbitrarily
to this group and said, you're more like us.
Right.
And the colonizers in the Cape, the British and the Dutch said, you colored groups, you're also part of us because we fathered you, right? And so you're closer to us than the Africans. So, you can become part of us. And that was for 400 years. So you begin to push that through every level of the system to make yourself an exception, to distance yourself from what is indigenous, what is dark-skinned, what is your root, right? And they've done this in this land. And that's the trauma of slavery. That's the genocide of slavery. And you provide privileges to this group to keep the so-called majority, the so-called black majority in place. Same thing in the Sudan.
Yeah.
Same thing in the Sudan. So this is where colonial tyranny knows no color or racial bounds, nor religious bounds. I was just thinking, I said, with this Catholic hospital, I said, well, the Catholics are supposed to be compassionate. Thousands of dollars in bills, offshore stuff that they're doing, exploiting people in the Philippines or Africa or Latin America for their staff and so on. You can't get anybody here. So, but they're supposed to be Catholic. And I said to myself, you can be Catholic, you can be white liberal, white radical, but you're still part of this capitalist system. And ultimately, you still support it. Whether you're religious, right-wing, left-wing, liberal, you're still part of the system and you still support it and you still benefit from it. And you still uphold it. You see? So we've got to look in depth at how these things came about. That's what edumacation should be all about.
Yeah.
How these things came about in the Sudan, and the colonizers. You know, Darfur was very much about gum arabic and oil and all those the wealth minerals, just like in the Congo. And the United States, I don't know what we would call them. United States, you know, European states. I mean, European colonial states. That's what we should call it. European slaving colonial states.
Yeah, it's basically New Europe. It's like what Europe always wanted to be. I just think of it as New Europe. It's like Europe owns Uber Europe.
New Europe, yeah.
Uber Europe. They would like that because of their Germanic roots. Uber, right? Europe. Yeah. So let me ask you this. So we're seeing where it's come from. So like as a project, I want to know, do you think as we seek to decolonize ourselves, just like here in Turtle Island, can there be any type of restoration of ourselves and of our sovereignty under these alien type definitions of religion? What is the role if people still say, I'm a colored, I'm a mulatto, I'm a Hajin, I think Islam is the best in this Bantu? How can you have is it not possible? It's not possible because they're seen as an antagonism because they see us decolonization as a step backwards. So
you mean it's not possible with them?
It's not possible with them, yeah.
No,
they see it not
that's
possible
not
with
their
us.
project.
That's not their project. So I think to have just say we want to we can't just have a quote unquote Pan-Africanism with people on the continent because we still got Dutchies, we still got Boers, we still got quote unquote coloreds, and we still got people who feel like this. So I understand like on a personal level, we have some of us have, you know, like connections with people who might be Muslim or Arab and stuff like that. But as a political project, if we're talking about worldwide, like what Garvey's talking about is like something that protects us as African people worldwide. That can that really include a Arab who is an Arab nationalist? That to me it can't, because they've had their expansion period prior to even Europeans. And as a matter of fact, they saw how good it was going and they said, shit, we want in on this. You know, and that was the Portuguese who funded a lot of wars, you know, that we were having in contradictions with a lot of the Arabs at the first time. They act like they was our friends and stuff. So I'm just saying, as a Pan-Africanism with Arabs, I don't see how it works because they're just as much as an invader. Maybe I'm wrong. I just want to see what your take, how do you feel about that?
Well, I think this is part of the decolonizing project, Sister Zari, Brother James, because
now, if we are concerned with our awakening, it's because we've been asleep. Now, we were put to sleep by historical catastrophes. And you know, when people get into an accident, they need to go to sleep in order to survive the accident. If you're totally conscious when it happens, you won't survive.
How many lives will be lost to the Maangamizi? It's way bigger than the pain that I place on the CD. If I told you all the truth, would you really believe me? It's the Maangamizi, it's the Maangamizi. How many lives will be lost to the Maangamizi? It's way bigger than the pain that I place on the CD. If I told you all the truth, would you really believe me? It's the Maangamizi, it's the Maangamizi.
Maangamizi meaning African Holocaust, cause we paid a hell of a cost and don't really know what was lost. And the process ain't ever stopped since black civilization dropped for internal greed and external plot. The same ones that taught the ancient Greeks, Greece and Rome helped bring to the knees, then Islam spread across northern Africa. With slavery and massacres, too many hurt, refused to convert, spread south and west, people dispersed. Christianity's not alone in using race and religion for power to expand. Desert caravans took slaves across sand, where they staged a revolt of the Zanj. Enemies always invented mythologies, curse of Ham, so-called prophecy. After the migration, there was some reinstatement of autonomous nations. Then floating on the waves of the seas came a plague, a genocidal disease. With arms and heads, they looked like men. Really, they were just dogs on two legs. When they first came, some of our people said go. Most welcomed them into our homes. We didn't know they had hearts of stone, frozen by Western Europe's cold. Also, there were scumbags among us, willing to work for white conquerors' honors. With that collaboration began the largest forced migration in the history of nations.
How many lives will be lost to the Ma'angamizi? It's way bigger than the pain that I place on the CD. If I told you all the truth, would you really believe me? It's the Ma'angamizi, it's the Ma'angamizi. How many lives will be lost to the Ma'angamizi? It's way bigger than the pain that I place on the CD. If I told you all the truth, would you really believe me? It's the Ma'angamizi, it's the Ma'angamizi.
How many millions dead at the bottom of the ocean, thrown overboard like property stolen or jumped overboard, rather than be sold on a mother with a baby in arms? Hold on, what awaited was not just enslavement, but a genocidal impulse craving. They committed unspeakable abuses to make a nigga from an African human. Took a woman ready to give birth, tied her limbs to 4 posts held firm in the main square, made every slave watch, covered her in raw meat, like fucking dogs. If anyone watching, even a relative, made a sound, killed them for the hell of it. This was every day, not the exception. The science of gynecology was perfected on black women, no anesthetic. Said a nigga bitch couldn't feel pain, pathetic. Hang a man from a tree, cut off his penis, force people to eat their own feces, put people in zoos, in a cage, chimpanzee, black human, ape. And it was upon this here atrocity Europe became the dominant economy. Now they play games, pretend it's about names. It's a scheme for unequal trade. Imagine the largest companies today, if all of their employees got no pay. For all of the centuries profit was made, black skin was always branded slave. Even the child of the master's rape could be killed and sold, cause black blood in the veins. But the ancestors fought back, got free. Probably ain't heard of Jean-Jacques Dessalines. Probably don't know the Haitian Revolution caused the French to sell half of America, nor the role that Africans played in the Civil War for that same America. If you ain't heard of any of the Maroons or Bogle, probably believe what they told you. But if they set Africans free, cause all of a sudden they grew a conscience, tell me this: why were the masters given compensation and those who suffered not given a thing? Why did they then invade Africa and make African slaves in their own homes, with the Belgians killing 10 million souls in the Congo alone? Why then Jim Crow? Why apartheid? Why the Black Wall Street burn that night? Why collaborators will work for such evil, willing to be tools against their own people? Why AFRICOM? Imperialism for the new age with a brown face on it. That's right, imperialism for the new age with a brown face on it.
How many lives will be lost to the Ma'angamizi? It's way bigger than the pain that I place on the CD. If I told you all the truth, would you really believe me? It's the Ma'angamizi, it's the Ma'angamizi. How many lives will be lost to the Ma'angamizi? It's way bigger than the pain that I place on the CD. If I told you all the truth, would you really believe me? It's the Ma'angamizi, it's the Ma'angamizi.
Some will try their best to justify this torture, asking you who the slaves were brought from. As if we don't know, tell them get the hell out. Every genocide ever has had sellouts, and the largest wars of humans were fought between people of Western Europe. Some of your rationale is cool to kill Frenchmen, they kill Germans that look like them. Absurd, right? But when your skin's white, different set of rules you can't abide by. Dark suffering's not humanized, no surprise, we still see ourselves through their eyes. Darkies became legally human during the course of our parents' life, and the freedoms we have only occur because the ancestors spilled their blood to the earth. Change that much? You so sure? The world's darker people still the most poor? So it's our task to put an end to this. Even those like me with a heritage mix, if a knife's in your back, 9 inches, and it's only been pulled out 6. When the wound starts healing and we stop bleeding and bleaching, can it begin to fix? When the plague of self-hate's no longer a weight so great, push you to kill one another. When we put a stop to false charity, to give with one hand and bomb with the other. When the IMF World Bank, along with the puppets, no longer strangle our nations. When the invaders don't have military bases in so many places. When the jail cells not packed with black backs and the gats and the crack are no longer factors. When we celebrate true self-determination, not a few token bit part actors. When the truth is told and there is the dignity to remember the dead, as long as they're distorting the past, means they have the intention of doing it again.
How many lives will be lost to the Ma'angamizi? It's way bigger than the pain that I place on the CD. If I told you all the truth, would you really believe me? It's the Ma'angamizi, it's the Ma'angamizi. How many lives will be lost to the Ma'angamizi? It's way bigger than the pain that I place on the CD. If I told you all the truth, would you really believe me? It's the Ma'angamizi, it's the Ma'angamizi.
All right, this is where we're gonna have to leave it for now, but not to fret, not to fret. If you want to finish listening to Is Apartheid Really Dead? Redux, a dialogue with Dr. Julian Kunnie, Part 2, in its entirety, where in addition to what you've just heard, we discuss how using external veneers as the paramount determining factor of ideological clarity is detrimental. China's presence on the African continent, the Black consciousness movement of Azania, South Africa, the landless people's movement in Azania, South Africa, and much, much more. All you have to do is sign up for our Conscientization 101 Premium Podcast subscription. And here to provide you with further details about Conscientization 101 Premium Podcast subscription, we have our beloved managing editor, Zari Sundi Ada. Take it away.
With a Conscientization 101 Premium Podcast subscription, you will have access to all of Conscientization 101's unabridged interviews, plus early access to Conscientization 101 podcast episodes, bonus content such as our musical commentaries, which are insightful and rousing articles we have written, set to music we produced, and much more. We know how hard it is to keep up with content you value in this ever-expanding media environment, but with the Conscientization 101 Premium Podcast subscription, you will be able to do just that. So try Conscientization 101 Premium Podcast subscription for 7 days free with no commitment, and you can cancel anytime. Available exclusively on Apple Podcasts. For more details, see link in our show notes. And most importantly, you will be supporting 100% independent media.
All right, this episode has featured music from Conscientization 101, Decolonize This, Properly Defining Settlers, Part 1. Big Frizzle, Fast. Akala, Maangamizi, from his album, The Thieves' Banquet, and Donnie Mossberg, Tragedy Mix. Now a word on the music that was featured on this episode. The track that you are hearing right now is from brother Donnie Mossberg. And as we told you last episode, this is a track that he emailed us a while back. That beat don't sound like a tragedy, it sounds like a celebration, but it's so tragic because it sounds so dope. Did that make sense? I'm sorry. I'm trying to. I don't know what I mean. It make you feel like tragedy's going do 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 do. So it's, you know what I'm saying. It's tragedy, but it's like one of them good tragedies or something. Like, man, it's kind of like when you say that's bad, but you mean good. All right, let me stop. So if you want to follow Donnie, we have linked to his Instagram in our show notes. Also, the Big Frizzle track, Fast, was emailed to us on February 20th, 2020 by Big Frizzle himself. You ask me how I remember the date? 1, it's a Big Frizzle track, damn it. How can I not remember the date? The tracks are like platinum. And also, because Big Frizzle's birthday is February 20th, my birthday is 4 days later. Okay? 4 days later. I remember that day because also I gave Big Frizzle a birthday shout out and he gave us a track. You gotta love this guy. You call him on his birthday, happy birthday, Big Frizzle. Appreciate you, brother. You know what I'm saying, brother. Here, take this track, bro. You get me? See, I'm doing the Big Frizzle voice. You see what I'm saying? But then I can do the singing voice like, I'm hurting, I want to be free, I'm troubled. You see? Big Frizzle, what's up? Collabo? No, I can't do it. You do it. You stay in the music. I'll stay away. If you hear laughing in the background, that's because Zari's on the 1s and 2s. But I try to do my Big Frizzle voice, but I leave the music to him. But ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately to say, currently Big Frizzle is on a musical sabbatical, although he recently did disclose to me that he might be working on some new music very soon. Now, I remember when I first heard Fast, Maybe because we are literally less than a year apart in age, or maybe it's because our birthdays are a mere 4 days apart from one another. But I felt this track in my African soul. Now, I want to thank Big Frizzle for giving us permission to play this track, as it is an unreleased track from him. So, all of you heard it first here on Conscientization 101. Now, Big Frizzle doesn't have social media. Aww. I know, but we can link you to his album, Family First, Africa for Africans edition, on Bandcamp, available for the cost of Name Your Price. You gotta love that, right? I mean, check this out. How you gonna get Name Your Price in this economy? We in the damn Gilded Age, another Gilded Age in this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Big Frizzle say, name your price, bro. We encourage you to check out this album and check out our dialogue with Big Frizzle, episodes 21 and 22 on Conscientization 101 podcast. Link to Big Frizzle's Family First, Africa for Africans edition album is in our show notes. And let me tell y'all a little secret. Big Frizzle doesn't play when he says family first. Oh, no, he don't. Now, we've said it before. We've said it many times over. But y'all need to get that album from Akala the Thieves Banquet. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you done heard before. Oh, I've already heard the best classical album. No, you ain't heard this. This is a classic album, damn it. I'm going to tell y'all again. Back in 2012, okay, it was 2012. It was actually cold back then, okay? It wasn't a 90-degree 2012, because I'm telling y'all 2012, y'all like, why 2012? It was like in December 2012, and it was actually cold. It wasn't 90 degrees like it was this year, okay? And it was 2012. I just finished reading Ngugi wa Thiong'o's novel, Devil on the Cross. I was like, man, that's a dope book. Oh my God, that's a dope book. And guess what happened shortly thereafter? Akala releases The Thieves Banquet, which is inspired by Devil on the Cross. Oh my God. Talk about fortuitous. Think about this, listening audience. The track we featured, the Maangamizi, features Ayikwe Arma. Y'all know we love us some Ayikwe Arma. Yeah. So, please do yourself a favor. Run, don't walk. Run, don't walk. You running. And pick up Akala's The Thieves Banquet. Pick up a copy of Ngugi wa Thiong'o's Devil on the Cross. Today, running. Now, I think y'all are kind of getting the pattern, right? I know y'all are getting the pattern. Guess what I'm about to say right now? Guess what I'm about to say? Link for Akala's The Thieves Banquet album and Ngugi wa Thiong'o's Devil on the Cross is, guess where it's going to be at? Where the link's going to be at? Oh my God, in our show notes. Also, I wanted to tell y'all, we also linked to what we have dubbed the Chinwezu Reader in our show notes as well. That is where you can find the article we referenced in today's episode, Reparations for Darfur for a Resolution. We call it the Chinwezu Reader because we combined a number of articles written by Chinwezu that we downloaded from a website called The House of Knowledge into one PDF, and we bookmarked the document as it has a plethora of Chinwezu articles. Now, we did this back in 2015. We made the compiled document available to people who subscribe to our newsletter, which is why you want to subscribe to our newsletter, okay? You'll never know what you might get. Like what Forrest Gump said, no, it's my fine. I don't know why that's Forrest Gump, but you never know, right? You know what I'm saying? But we did that because, like, in the document, Chinwezu says, yo, if you know any other Pan-Africans, people interested, forward these documents so people can read it. And Chinwezu's work is very hard to find. A lot of it's out of print. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad he put this up. And for people, and we still want to share the document go direct people to Chinwezu's work. So for those who didn't subscribe, we made available because, hey, if you didn't subscribe, you probably wouldn't be interested anyway, right? So, but we did do a category for people who might not know about the website. And back in the day, we did in our 401 category, we linked, we made a post, we made an article, we created an article, and we linked directly to the House of Knowledge website so people can go and download all the articles one by one. If, if they see it, they can compose it in a document. But it just came to our attention that the website, the House of Knowledge, is no longer up and running. So we updated the post in our 401 category and have a link directly to the more convenient document that we compile. So if you go to that post, if you just go to the website, go to that post, say read through a little write-up, whatever, click download, and it'll just pop up and you can go ahead and get what we compiled. It's over like 306 pages, okay? It's literally like a book, and we printed it out because I can't read on a tablet. I can't do that. It hurts my eyes. You should see my apps on my iPhone. They're super big, okay? I can't see that. So I printed it. It's literally a Chinwezu book. It's literally a Chinwezu book, hence the appellation, the Chinwezu Reader. But, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to this, just go to our show notes and you can download it directly there. But for future references, you can just go to that post or come back to these show notes. Now, to recap, listening audience, there are links to the music and books referenced in this episode available on our website and in our show notes. Yeah. Now, don't forget, when you visit us at conscientization101.com or c101magazine.com, check out all the content we have to offer. Our 411 category, which consists of articles, announcements, and other forms of information that are relevant for the fortification of your praxis. Our videos category, which features videos that were meticulously chosen to solidify the process of conscientization. And last, but most definitely not least, check out our library category. Our library category includes books we have read, recommend, and have provided a write-up. These books bring many of the ideas and concepts put forth in our podcasts, articles, and videos into proper context. And while you're at conscientization101.com or c101magazine.com, sign up to our mailing list to stay up to date with all our latest content. Also, don't forget to check us out on Facebook at Conscientization101 and Instagram at C101Editors. You can also hit us up on email at editors@c101magazine.com. That is EDITORS at C101magazine.com. We want to thank Dr. Julian Kunnie for taking his time out of his schedule to dialogue with us. And another thing, listening audience, I'm going to just keep it real with y'all. We've been doing this thing of ours. Well over a decade. We've met a lot of people we respected for purportedly having a conscientized analysis. We've been invited to academic conferences. That was really weird. People sit around reading papers to each other, right? It was some weird, that was like, the first one we went to was like back in like 2010 or something like that. I had never experienced that, but the work we do, we got invited and I saw that. And it was like for some black academic conference, these black elite people talking about black issues at a white school in a white city. And they were like, yes, the body of the black is the black of the objectivity of the blackness, and it can be eaten by a larger society that craves black flesh. What do y'all think about this paper? Oh, very good, very good. I was like, what the hell is this shit they talking? White folks paying y'all to say this shit? So I was like, this is really weird. And then somebody was like, yes, well, I think about black ontological being and the subjectivity in the aeronautics of the heuromestics and the domestics and the plastics and the objectives, subjectives. You get me? Phenomenology. Yeah, thieves in the temple. I was like, what does that mean? And the guy actually said that it's supposed to be a real blackety black dude. And he said, I do not experience police brutality. I don't know what it is about me. Maybe that's some problem that other blacks have. Now, this guy was in the African-American part saying, you know, this police brutality thing, is it really a black problem? This guy's crazy. To which somebody responded, well, I consider myself a Baldwinian. Okay, that's because I guess he loved James Baldwin. He called himself a Baldwinian. That was his rejoinder. It was a very interesting exchange, and we've witnessed a lot of this over the years. A lot of people that purported to be conscientized. These people in academia, not all of them are real. I hate to tell you, and a lot of them do not care. This is a career for them, okay? Their praxis is actually designed for co-optation into the current Western hegemonic ecocidal paradigm. Okay, that's just what it is. So when you hear people say, oh yes, I just learned that the black body is a fungible commodity that can be put on the shelves in Walmart and available for Shopify for the larger Western consumption patterns. Do you like this? Look, you got to make organic intellectuals like Gramsci said, okay, damn it, because I don't know it. And guess what? This is the thing about academics. The more you don't understand what they say, the smarter they are considered. Now, that's some weird shit. Like, if I go out into the streets and I start saying, yes, I need H2O to relieve myself of a constant nagging. Nigga, you thirsty? You want some water? You know what I'm saying? No, that's too simple. You understood what I was trying to say? I am smart when you don't understand me. Esoteric is the highest. It's the apex of knowledge. So the more nobody understands them, the more grants they get. And so, so guess what that means in terms of praxis? You're not getting anywhere if you don't know what the fuck a motherfucker's saying. But ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you this. Dr. Julian Kunnie is the real deal. Okay? The sincerity you hear in his voice is genuine and not spurious. Thank you, Dr. J. Okay? We've talked with him off the record for many years now. It's not an act. We would know it, But I do want to tell you this, listening audience, just because people might not be real, you meet them, and because we've done this, like I said, a long time. If their work is solid, you're going to have to learn to disassociate, what they might be saying from their actual praxis. Okay, that's all I want to say. But at the same time, sometimes people just saying some esoteric bullshit. They ain't get them damn grants and shit. I'm just telling y'all. But again, thank you, Dr. J. Also, this episode is dedicated to our dear brother, Big Frizzle. Our brother, Big Frizzle's father, recently made his transition to the ancestor realm. We give our sincerest condolences to Big Frizzle and his family. Big Frizzle is a man who truly believes in family first. And I know that one of the sources that helped instill his love for family and revolutionary Pan-African consciousness was his father. We dedicate this show to you and your father's memory. Be well, my brother. And I want my 9 night to be just like your daddy had. That was the man. Give me a 9 night like that. Yeah. So that's our show. Join us next time for the conclusion of our series. Is Apartheid Really Dead? Redux. A dialogue with Dr. Julian Kunnie. And I want y'all to remember, listening audience, for real, neo-colonialism is oh so real. Meaning you just can't unite with people because they look like you. Nah, that black, I'm for black everything. You got to unite with somebody based on their ideology. Okay, their ideology. Because let me tell you something like this. If we was all in Africa, let me give you a real example. Look at the Congo under Mobutu. They kicked the white folks out. right? Everybody wanted the white folks gone. They want the colonizers gone. We're against the colonizers. Now, what you for? Now, then you got Mobutu in there. Everybody was black. So yeah, he says black thriving. It's Zaire. We're thriving. Black excellence is Mobutu. Okay? Mobutu was selling everybody out to Reagan, to Botha. All the white folks loved him, right? Then when the nigga died and everybody were uprising against the nigga, they called him a kleptocrat, as if they weren't the one creating that shit. They didn't have the banks to put the money in. They was keeping the money from Mobutu. They was giving them all that. He was selling their people out like you couldn't even believe, okay? Selling the resources of Congo is one of the richest places on earth. Mobutu, he was black excellence. He vacationed in France. He was one of the richest black men. He was Jay-Z before Jay-Z. He was Mobutu, okay? But that shit is only skin deep. What's the ideology? That's what you have unity around. And if you have ideological unity with a group, with your people, with this person, you know what I'm saying? Not just superficiality. I like Kwame Ture said, was it Kwame? I know I read it in the Kwame Ture Ready for Revolution. It was some brother said it, but it was, blackness is necessary, but it's not sufficient, okay? So if you got that ideological unity, then hell, I'm just gonna quote our brother Rago Zulu Rebel. Peace, love, and unity. We out. Yeah.
Greetings in the name of His Imperial Majesty, I King of Kings, Lord of Lords, conquering land of the tribe of Judah, I Selassie, I Jah, Rastafari, and I the humble messenger, Jaja messenger, Rago Zulu Rebel. Right, big up Vinny Sata.
Greetings, peace, love, and unity. But the fool judge me under scrutiny. Can't find I am fuckery, no foolery. Simply peace, love, and unity. From a juvenile day on the puberty. Been a true artist in the community. Don't promote wickedness, no cruelty. Just peace, love, and unity. Hey, good evening and good night. You know, see it greeting, I bring like half pint. Bars always tight, I never on point, I lie. Sharp like the teeth in the sharp bite. Everything airy and it alright. That's why the bad mind can't find out with searchlight. I and I do a judge I love at first sight. So please just respect my sovereignty and my birthright. Yo, peace, love, and unity. But the fool judge me under scrutiny. Can't find I am fuckery, no foolery. Simply peace, love, and unity. From a juvenile under puberty. Been a true artist in the community. Don't promote wickedness, no cruelty. Peace, love, and unity. Blessing Jah, no brethren, until we're sistering without question. Guidance and protection to walk the streets free of evil I am molesting. Yes, I, and God bless all children. Fire burner where we kidnap and steal them. Keep a distance from your have bad intent. Can we represent life from time she pregnant. Love and unity, but the fools judge me under scrutiny. Can't find I am fuckery, no foolery. Simply peace, love, and unity.
Yeah, Rago Zulu Rebel, Jaja messenger, Vinny Sata. We come for deal with the matter. See?
Peace, love, and unity. Peace, love, and unity. From a juvenile under puberty, I just promote peace, love, and unity. Seen? Peace, love, and unity. Hey, peace, love, and unity. Can't find I am fuckery, no foolery. Just pure peace, love, and unity. Seen? You and I, yeah. Rago Zulu Rebel, Jaja messenger, Vinny Sata.
why Vinny Satta say